If science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion, otherwise you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
You're about to listen to a dope podcast.
Yeah,
Everybody out there in the world.
So
actually, here
houses that are monsters. What's up with that?
Yeah, let's yeah, maybe we'll come back around. Monster House.
Oh,
the animation is a monster.
There it is. It's the fucking My Beautiful Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna go because I can tell you're dying. You're like,
oh no, I'm good. I'm a minute. I'm here.
I saw your soul leave your body. I'm pretty sure. So.
I'm invigorated.
So this is called The Cinema Knowledge. That's Jordan over there, Levi here. We have been watching horror movies like every day for Horrortober. We're in the sauce now. And our crazy hectic lives, and so it's just eating, breathing, and horror movies, and it's been good, and I'm glad. And so this one today, we did some kids movies, or like, you know, family friendly, and Monster House won, and I'm super stoked about it. So we did Monster House because I was gonna watch it anyway. I watch it every year, and I've already watched Nightmare Before Christmas like 3 times because my daughter's obsessed with it all of a sudden.
Oh really? Okay.
I gotta put it on my letterbox, but.
That's a dude. No, I mean that is like
all day. I'm just like, this is Halloween. This,
right.
All day. So,
yeah. Like there's that. I think that's my one thing. My criticism about this movie is like it doesn't have quite a pop to it, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well,
you want to give a little synopsis?
It's not. You can't merchandise it as good at Hot Topic like you can Jack Skellington's head.
I know. Right. I think that's what I mean. It's like this movie has like zero style, so it's like I'm
whoa,
but we'll get there.
Whoa,
we'll
okay,
get there. I mean, I'm ready for you to defend it.
I am going to defend it. I love this movie.
I know you do, and I don't dislike this.
Oh
movie,
no,
so
but I get the criticisms, and I also get like why it's kind of like mid and didn't come from it.
Yeah. I'll give you a little bit of technical backside on why that happened as well, but. Tell the fine folks at home what we're watching.
So, Monster House is a 2006 animation, right? So it's this kid, DJ or is DJ? He, DJ. It's in the 80s.
Yeah,
he's playing Pong.
Kind of undescript 80s.
Yeah, 80s some point, but
it kind of feels like the 50s because that's where Amblin lives. But
right, yeah. So JD, he's like this 10-year-old kid, and he lives across the street from this super spooky, the like haunted ass house on the lot that they always have. It's Mr. Nebercracker's lawn, and it's like everyone knows if you go on his lawn that he's like loses his shit, and if your shit goes on there, he takes your toys. He takes some little girl's trike right at the beginning, so. DJ is all like freaked out by him, and his parents leave to go to a dentist conference, and the babysitter Z comes over to check him out, and his friend Chowder, who's the the fat lovable doofus that's got to be in every movie, right. Of course, and they they're having fun or whatever, but he loses his ball on Mr. Nebercracker's lawn, and DJ tries to be like, I can get it. And he goes and tries and get it. And Mr. Nebercracker comes out and shakes him and has a heart attack and kind of dies on him.
Right.
And so they're freaked out and they think he's dead. But then the house, they start getting calls from the house, and he thinks the house is up. And meanwhile, oh God, what's the girl's name? I forget her name. It's like Jenny or something.
Sarah. Oh, yeah, I think Jenny. Yeah.
This like Girl Scout comes around and tries to sell some stuff to the babysitter, and it kind of gets. Then she tries to go over to to Mr. Nebercracker's house, but they saw the house like acting alive, and so they're all freaked out, and they've been watching it, and so they see her going over there, and they're like, "Oh no, don't!" And they go to try to save her, but then the house like tries to eat her because the house is a monster, right? Monster house,
right? It's a monster.
It's like alive.
It truly is sentient. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's the actual house. It's
not
thing.
The horrors that happen inside the house. The house
is
itself
the house. Literally,
is the
door is its mouth, right?
Yeah, right.
It has a
windows
uvula
or its eyes.
and a throat.
It does. It does have a uvula. A female uvula.
That's right. And so, they keep trying to like, figure out what's going on. They like send in like a booby trap, and then like these cops come, and they're like just like these super incompetent cops like always, and they end up getting eaten by the house, and their car gets eaten.
Yeah.
But they're in the back of the car. The kids are in the back of the car when the car gets eaten. So that's how they get into the house, though. They get like kind of sucked in, and the house doesn't realize they're there. So they're like snooping around, and they find like a skeleton in the basement, and they are like, oh no, what could this be? This skeleton? Oh no. And they're about to get eaten by the house, and then they gag reflex it with the uvula, and they make the house throw up, and they get thrown up by a house, which is pretty crazy.
And it's cool, and it all makes really good sense. Like this is
it's tight.
a strong structure for a film,
for sure. And so they get puked up, and they're trying to figure out like what to do about this house and all this, and figure out the mystery, and they're all obsessed in peanut bottles and all that, and then the ambulance comes back, but like Mr. Nevercracker's driving it, like he stole it or something, and he's still alive, and so DJ's glad he's not a murderer, but then they get the tragic backstory that the skeleton is his wife, and he like saved her from the circus, and she died during the construction of the house, and she like hates Halloween and hates kids, and so her like soul became part of the house and everything, and he turned into an old curmudgeon just to kind of protect the children from her vengeful house spirit, right? So they got to figure out they got to like, oh, okay, they got to put out the fire because they realize that's the heart, right? But the house is not putting up with it. Yeah, exactly. So the house is like, oh no, my husband turns against me. So it actually full on unroots from the ground by trees and starts chasing them through the fucking neighborhood. This giant monster house is chasing them through the neighborhood.
Monster house.
They end up in the old fucking construction area that they alluded to earlier. Fucking Mr. Nevercracker's just got like a bundle of dynamite, and fucking DJ's, swinging from a fucking crane to try and drop in the dynamite down the chimney while Chowder's fucking chomping at it with the tractor and all this crazy shit. And they end up blowing up the house, and the day is saved, and they go back and, they have a nice touching moment where Mrs. Nevercracker's spirit is freed, and all that's left is like a crater and all the toys, and so everyone's trick-or-treating at this crater where the house used to be, and they're getting all the toys back. Everyone's very happy. Jason Lee gets his kite back and everything.
Bones lives.
And
or whatever.
And then everyone comes out. The dog they got eaten in, the cops that got eaten. Everyone comes out of the fucking hellhole of the bowels of the house, I guess. You know what I mean? And it's nice, the curse is lifted, but Mr. Nevercracker's homeless now, I guess, but oh well.
But he's fine. He's happy. He's freed from the shackles
of
taking care of his.
He's Steve Buscemi. He'll live.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah.
He'll live.
I loved all the voices in it. I was like, oh shit, yeah, Kevin James, dude. He plays another cop, Mal Blart, dude.
I know.
He's the original cop. Do you know what's awesome though? The original names for Bones, Skull, and Chowder, the like German translation for them is Punk, Freak, and Ketchup.
What? Really?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. I love that.
They're just like, dude, that fat kid Ketchup and Punk and Freak.
That's really funny. I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like Chowder, obviously nickname clearly, but it's like I'm almost just like Punk, Freak, and Ketchup, dude. Those could be.
Dude, I'll start a band because like Skull and Bones is the band or whatever, but I want to start a band called Punk, Freak, and Ketchup for sure.
I know. Yeah, dude.
That's our band. So tell me that's Monster House for y'all. So right?
Yeah.
I feel like if you weren't a younger kid at the time of this release, it is pretty forgotten. Like I feel like it's very rarely talked about. The only time I've heard it talked about, which I didn't even realize, is because it was co-written by Dan Harmon, and like that's the only time I've seen it come up in recent years, But this movie, I mean, I saw it when it came out, and I was a little bit older, but I thought it was fun, and my brother really liked it. I was like 15 or something when this came out, but I thought it was cool and all that, and so it's like since then I've watched it a handful of times, and I enjoy it every time I watch it. So, but this was your first time watching it, right? So tell me. Tell
Yeah,
me
it's coming,
your experience.
from fresh eyes. Well, so it was fun. I watched it with my younger siblings, and they got a kick out of it. I mean, it was, it's exciting, it's thrilling, it holds a younger person's attention span pretty well, and I was like enthralled through the whole thing. I don't think I ever I was never like mystified by it or like really that enthralled necessarily. Just due to the pure personal preference of what I'm literally looking at. There's just something weird with the animation, and that's probably due to the fact that this is like Sony's first like fully 3D animated film.
Yeah.
And it's mocap.
It's early mocap
it's
days.
all like early mocap. So like it just has a weird look.
Yeah, like I'm
to
pretty
it.
sure after the director pitched it and he got like funding and like Spielberg helped produce it with Amblin and all that, and they got fucking Zemeckis, his team that just got done making Polar Express, to kind of like lend stuff or help out, if I recall right, something like that, to like lend to the mocap. So this is like pretty early. Like everything's fucking mocapped now, but it's like they've ironed out all the kinks. There's some kinks in this, dude.
I think that like Polar Express looks scarier if you would just looks too fake. It's too weird. Like this at least has somewhat of a style.
Yeah, it's like Polar Express
it.
is trying to be realistic, but it wasn't ready for that. And like this is not trying to be realistic. It's definitely like a style, but it like leans into it. But it's like it does have that uncomfortable movement that comes with mocap, where it's like it has like the natural body movements, but on like these weird like cartoony characters, which is like not fluid. Because now when you get those kind of mocaps, it's like they even it out with like keyframes and like AI and all this shit to kind of like make it flow easier on the frame of the model. And in this, it's like definitely like they're like, I think it's great. Like I think it's great, but it is a little janky for sure.
I think it's just the humans. Everything else is beautiful. The house does look awesome. I'm definitely down for like the house's like design and creation, and it's like its personality. They do a really good job at that.
It's a good monster.
I think
house.
Right. It's a great dude. I kept
monster.
thinking Monster House. Kid seats are still $5. Monster House. I mean, it does crush some stuff, but
well, you were talking about look, and that's one thing. It's like that I really like about this, because it's like nothing. Because you're right. There's no like big standout. Like there's the set pieces kind of at the end, but it doesn't have like, it's not super merchandisable.
Right.
It's not like, it doesn't have like this lasting cultural impact, but it does feel like in an alternate reality, like this movie was really popular and then movies were more like this. Because like every movie looks like fucking Pixar or DreamWorks or like everything looks the same. But like, so going back and watching this movie,
but dude, I just saw The Wild Robot. I know that's like
did you go
20,
see it? I want to see it so
dude,
bad.
I know it's like 20 years difference, and how technology moves like exponentially faster.
The Wild Robot looks
dude,
awesome. So
the Wild Robot is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, and so like in just physically just like technically looking.
Hold up one fucking second.
Beautiful.
Wait, I'm gonna have to screech this podcast to a halt, because you went to theaters and you saw The Wild Robot this month.
Yeah,
and you
I'm
didn't.
pretty sure I put it on.
And you
I'm pretty
didn't
sure I
go
put it on
see the
Letterboxd.
fucking Substance instead, or
I know, right? I know. Well, I'm living with children right now, so
take them to see The Substance. They'll love it.
They'll love it. God, no.
Anyway.
No, dude, they can't. They freaked out during this movie. Like there were parts that they freaked out.
Yeah,
and Wild Robot. Wild Robot's actually pretty violent, and so
it's pretty intense.
They freaked out there too.
Nature,
but,
baby.
Oh my god, dude, it's holy shit.
It.
The animation is bonkers. I think then that's where it is. So coming back to Monster House, where the animation, I kept the amount of times that I said, I wish this was just a real movie and they did practical effects with the Monster House. Like there are so many times where I'm like, God, this would have been sick if it was like real. Because I was frustrated with how like little people they had, where I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like to animate the neighborhood more, I'm like, you could animate more neighborhood action happening. I know they're trying to make this feel like it's the kids, just them. It's their adventure together, which is very Amblin style, just like
like
having
where
it be
the
just
monster
the kids and no adults exist.
rampages through the neighborhood and no one even notices on
yeah,
Halloween
there's-
night.
There's not even like a car alarm going off or like a house light turning on to give that effect. Like there just was no. It's like in animation, everything is planned. So when it looks like there's kind of an accident or a flub or something that seems organic in an animation, it was completely thought of and animated. It's like there's no frame happens like organically in a film in an animated film, and this just kind of felt like that. It just felt like cheaper, in that sense.
I'm sure it is though, because it does all
this is
feel
older. Right. When it's the first, this is Sony's like first. It's like they basically like we're developing this, and then this is like the first movie that they made with it. And so you're kind of like, I get it, Of course, it's gonna be rough. Like then it's gonna stand out like that, and it actually holds up fairly well. Like it doesn't look too bad.
I love the look. Like it does seem bare,
yeah.
like you say. It does seem bare, but it's
I think that's just it.
It's
right.
It uses like a way softer depth of field than most animation movies. It's like this more
True.
of like
it
this,
does feel cinematic.
This
yeah,
like
like
warm, grainy like texture to it, and it's like the character movements and stuff. Like when they get, especially like in their faces, are like aggressive, but it like kind of adds to the eeriness vibe of it. I do agree that it is like weirdly barren, but they probably just like wanted to keep it simple. Because it's like, obviously it would make sense to have like a more of a bombastic like neighborhood chaos or something.
Right.
Like, logically, but I'm like,
more,
something. Because it's like
right.
literally it all happens and then it's like, oh, and then everyone's out trick-or-treating after. But it's night
and
still.
Nobody,
and like,
it just was weird that like it doesn't get mentioned and like it's like the neighborhood doesn't even have a, I don't know. It's just, it's like, as it goes as the movie, like the movie is so tight that like we don't really need more world building in that sense. Like, it's,
I feel like had this been a live action film, those problems would have been far more annoying for me. But it's like, I guess it's like maybe I'm just like more likely to give it a pass because it's like this. It's like a kind of a more smaller kids animated film that it does almost borderline like experimental or student even like. In its like newness and like at the time, obviously you look at it through that lens and stuff. But so it's like if it was live action, like I don't know if it'd work. But obviously we always say that the perfect one would be if it was stop motion, which
stop motion. I mean, duh, that'd be amazing.
Which honestly, like this kind of gives me that vibe anyway. Like the jitteriness of the animation kind of feels like a stop motion because it's like Sony.
It gives me like paranorman.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Just and that's kind of what I like though about it, where like I'm stuck between. I wish it was more of an animation where like more. I know like fantastical things happen. Obviously, it's a fucking sentient house, so it's like that's pretty fantastical. But like how grounded and real all the characters are, and like I don't know, they got it. Yeah, see, that's where I get stuck in between that, where I'm like. They could do more with the animation.
I know, but it's like if you go to compare it.
I mean, Toy Story kind of does that too.
Well,
so
we talked about
it's
earlier. We said like so. I watched like Nightmare Before Christmas like many times, and obviously that movie's super iconic and it's stop motion and it's got like a very strong art style and everything. But it's like and it's super marketable. You know what I mean? Like how many people have Nightmare Before Christmas tattoos versus how many people have Monster House tattoos. You know what I mean?
I can't, dude. I want to find if you out there in podcast land,
I'm gonna
have
get
a Monster House
I'm gonna
tattoo.
get one, dude.
Come to our YouTube, come to our Reddit. Freaking,
I'm gonna get a
message
punk,
us.
punk freaking ketchup, man, like tattoo.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that'd be sick. Oh, that's actually that'd be funny. But no, yeah, like come to coldestminute@gmail and let us know.
Tell us.
Show us. Send us your pictures of your
I would love-
Monster House tats.
I'd be so happy.
It'd be sick.
But
See, you're a coward. You won't even get a Monster House tattoo.
I would.
So don't come at me. Don't come at me.
dude,
Like,
you've seen my tattoos. You know I will.
well, now you have to. That's
It'll be small though because I'm running.
I'm record.
I'm running out of space.
That's true.
Well, the places I'm willing to get a Monster House tattoo anyway.
Yeah. See,
I mean,
coward.
I'm not gonna get it on my neck or something. But
Yeah. I mean, the house at the end is cool. It's like it's fun when it blows up and then comes back in its final form.
well, yeah, it's like I mean, I agree that it's not as like crazy and memorable as some of these other movies. Because like I was saying, A Nightmare Before Christmas, it's like obviously that's like a musical, and it's like that's kind of what pulls it together, because it's like, you know, it's got like the numbers, like each musical number is what really like makes the scenes memorable, other than the art style. Because like
Sure, and that's what I mean.
like
that,
the glue.
that is
Like this
a true
doesn't have
animated
anything like
film.
that.
Like
This this is classic. Like you say, Amblin, the young kids like up to a mystery, and none of the adults believe them, and blah blah blah. That classic vibe, which you don't get animations doing that.
And that's kind of what I like. Yeah, I mean, don't worry. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's like a King of the Hill. It's awesome. Like, King of the Hill fundamentally doesn't need to be animated.
Yeah.
They don't do anything that that needs animation, and that's kind of where I'm at with this. Where I'm like, it's like I wish they did more
like
zany things, but
other
also,
than the
like,
house,
they do. They do plenty.
It seems all very grounded, which makes the use of animation, especially in its like early days like that, seem so weird in the really grounded stuff. I think is what it is. It's like hard to put your finger on it, but I think like that's probably why. Because most animations like this, they go full hog. You know what I mean? Like this does try like a weird in between balance, like we say, but it's like most go like Nightmare Before Christmas again, even though that's not even like that comparable. But now I'm just thinking about it. But it's like such a distinct art style that like that's what it is. And even like Pixar movies, because like what was the big Pixar movie around this time? Like freaking Incredibles or something? Ratatouille,
Monsters,
maybe?
Inc. No, it was Monsters Inc. 04 or 03.
Yeah,
Finding
Ratatouille
Nemo,
was.
I think. Finding
Ratatouille
Nemo
was like
came out in
07 or something, but
Yeah,
that area.
yeah.
So
But-
they're obviously crushing it at this time, like Pixar.
Right.
But everything had that look, and it's like that's very distinctly a Pixar movie. But like the premise, I don't know, because like the premise in this is just like, yeah, it's a house that's a monster, and that's fun.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
it's fun that like
but they
the
don't
only time
use
it gets
it-
zany is when they're in the house or the
Yeah.
house itself. Obviously, everything else is so real. So yeah,
There's no like they don't
the
use
house
it in the
gets weird.
same way that like a mouse cooking, controlling a guy like a puppet. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
not zany in that way where it's like an entire through line. There's no talking
Yeah.
animals either. You know, it's like if this had talking animals, people would
Yeah.
fucking love it.
I would.
You know,
well,
what I
dude,
mean?
yeah, that's. I mean, Wild Robot that had talking animals, baby, and that's,
did it?
that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need. You gotta go, dude. You got to see it. Your
I
kids
want
would
to.
like it. And it's
I
fucking-
want to.
It's good.
I just refuse to watch it right now because I'm only watching horror movies.
I mean, yeah, but see, I watch horror movies more than you throughout the year, so
That's
I
true.
can watch. I can just watch whatever.
Well, when I go to theaters next, because we got to go see Terrifier 3.
We get
coming out.
Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that's like so. It's like I'm gonna go from Wild Robot to like the most.
That's the
brutal movie
perfect
that's
double
come out.
feature, right?
It really, yeah.
So
I'm hella excited, dude. We gotta need to plan that.
I know it comes out this week.
Hell yeah.
And we should try and go. I don't know if we can go this weekend. We should try
I mean,
and go next
that's
week.
one
though.
thing. There's not like a psychopathic cannibal murderous clown in this movie, and so I don't know if I'm really gonna rate this movie very high.
I know. Well,
That's sarcasm,
well,
but
even though it's like fairly paced out pretty good, I do feel like there is a distinct difference between like the first half and the back half that like kind of lends to like a weird separation, because it's like once the house like fully like they go into the house and the house is like fully shape-shifting, that it's like it becomes a slightly different movie, and like Jenny gets involved.
Totally.
Because it is like
and there's the like mystery of it. Once it's revealed, I kind of feel like they didn't use it as well as they could have.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
That's like it's like I love like I know, I don't know. It's kind of a disservice to the name, but like I know it's like a monster house, and I kind of like knew the second he was like, get off my lawn, and then when the wheel got eaten up, I actually thought it would have been cooler if like this house like was eating like people, and it was more of a mystery throughout the town. I mean, I guess that's my thing. I'm just kind of like, I just feel like the world building was a little lacking. But that's
it's
fine.
way more intimate than
didn't-
what it could have been, because I
Yeah.
think what it is too, it's like in addition to like what I was saying about like the style and realism and like live action, but like part of the reason to use animation is that there are no limits. And so it's like Pixar, you know,
Right.
you can make a touching story about a dad losing his son and with fish, you know what I mean? And in this, it's
Right.
like other than the monster house, is pretty straightforward and pretty grounded. So it's like, why not go more with it? Because like, I mean, dream a little bigger with it.
The backstory too of the woman like possessing the house didn't feel very. It felt so shoehorned.
Yeah,
that's why I think
like,
that's where I'm like the back half gets like super rushed.
Yeah,
where I'm like,
I agree.
It didn't need to be rushed.
Like,
we're like, I don't know. You're
like
building
that
the mystery. They do a good job at building the mystery at the beginning. You know, and then when the house is revealed, I love that. I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. I love how it's like original. You the first second you see it, kind of like squint. You know, like you're like, oh, cool. It's like they're teasing that, and you knew it was coming, but like they tease it.
That's why in the first half, seeing the little bits, and then like the stuff eating in the lawn, and then like Bones getting eaten with the kite. Like that's my favorite sequence. Probably is like the kite when he walks out there all drunk. He's like ripping up the grass, and then the kite comes out. But. It's with I like them being like carnies, you know, but they like try to get you to feel sympathetic for her and like, she's misunderstood, everything's fine, but I'm like,
no,
it's like they don't show her enough. It's like, I do not understand. Like she just seems like a fucking cranky bitch until she dies. Like,
well, I was kind of confused too because like I understand she's been treated poorly.
Oh, absolutely.
But like it's literally like she gets tomatoes thrown at her once in the circus, so you're assuming okay this happens, but then when he comes and he effectively treats her like an animal.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you want me to free you? And like she's like yes, and he leaves her in the cage and hooks her up to the thing, and I'm like she can walk, right? Like she's there. Well, I guess she couldn't really walk because she got tomatoes thrown at her and she fell. But him towing her out, I was like, this is really awkward. And then when he's like, I love you forever, and I'm
it's
like
why?
The relationship was like
that's the thing. It's like
I'm like this is really like creepy and depressing. Like not in a way to like convince me to feel sympathy.
Yeah, because they try to like filter that sympathy through Nevercracker, and that kind of works, but it's tricking you because it's like he seems so scary. But then you realize, like he's the real one, where he's like, I've only been a jerk to protect you, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
And so and obviously Steve Buscemi and like his mocap is like great. Like I love it, and his voice is always
creepy,
just sweet and buttery. He's super creepy, but then when he needs to be a sweet old man, he is. And so that's like you get the sympathy to do that, but then you're like, why does he even love this chick? And like she dies like immediately as soon as they start building the house together.
And it's like it's strictly 100% fetish. Like there's no other reason. He literally is like, I'm seeing this beautiful creature in front of me that's getting tomatoes thrown at her, and like she's like performing essentially.
He's popping buttons, man. Like,
and I know, yeah. And I'm like this is, and then he just like literally is like, I'll free you in a cage. I don't know, he builds the house for her. That's sweet, I guess, but. It's her dying with like the cement falling on him and how he wouldn't try to get her out of the cement. I don't know. Anyways, whatever.
You should write
I know.
Like someone should flesh
an email.
Someone should just flesh it out just a bit. Just do like a prequel that takes place because this is like ambiguous 80s. Do like an ambiguous 60s prequel. But just like a little short comic or something, like a little short story or a comic that just like touches on it a little bit more with the kids' experience. You could flesh it out because again, like the written word,
I want to see the mom and dad's key parties, dude. That's what I really want to see.
Yeah,
back in the 60s, man. I know for a fact.
Let's talk a sec about like I thought this was like a pretty funny script for like a kids movie, like. It wasn't,
and it is like it's ambitious and it's original. I give an original script props 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like even for how flawed it is or how murky it can get, the fact that it is like it's like pretty much the only like I don't know, I can't remember. I was reading something about it how it's like it really sits as like one of the most original scripts from Sony. So I'm like
yeah, it's fun because
cool.
it does
Sony
have like a
animation.
lot of classic. And I guess that's also what's weird about it. It's like there are things that like. Oh, this is a familiar trope and a familiar time that like seems nice where it's like, oh, the two boys are like arguing over this girl. And it's like this old, like this very soft 80s Amblin type vibe, but then it's like got a like weird squamp on it. But I don't know, man. Like there's some jokes that got me pretty good. Like, I don't know. I thought the dialogue was pretty good. And, but the joke that I totally forgot about because it's so small is just when they're, I barely caught it this time, but it cracked me up when Chowder when they're sending in the vacuum dummy.
He's like, I love you.
He's like, remember how I trained you? It's like,
Yeah.
don't be scared. That's not how I trained you. I love you. You know, like,
I know.
I
Well, dude,
feel like I never got that before, and it cracked my ass up. But I'm just like,
No,
it's just so dumb. But
and I love like that's the thing. I'm a huge fan of like Sandlot and shit, and like movies that do that where it's like they're like I love the mystery of the house and then them like devising plans. And I just felt like when the cops showed up, it's so like would take the momentum of the kids to a grinding halt, and not in a way that was like serviceable. Like the cops coming, and like that was the catalyst to get them into the house, so that makes sense. But like, there's just I don't know. It was a bummer because I like wanted to see the house eat the dummy, to be like okay, the house isn't like that. She's more like it'd work better for like. She just is vindictive against children regardless, and she just like eats it, just like out of fury. And then it'd be kind of funny to see her like get sleepy, like it's like to have the house
right with all the that.
Yeah, but then her like kick it out, come into a rage or something.
I know. I wish we would have spent like I obviously I think the design of the house is really cool on the outside, and when it rips loose with the tree trunks and everything. But it's like I wish we. Every time I remember this movie, I feel like they spend more time in the house.
It did it felt fast, but I do like how like the light was like its eye essentially, or like it's like
like turns into like that spotlight kind of thing where it's like roaming.
Yeah,
because it's like the premise of like this house, like not like that's the whole thing. It's like they should lean into the premise a little bit more.
I know.
It's like,
that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like they tried to balance it, and it didn't work. Well, the house is such a cool idea.
The idea of this house, they get inside of it, and it has like these anatomical like parallels is really cool, and it would be really interesting if they were like trapped in the house more and it was like all like bigger on the inside, and had like all these weird places that were like the body, like that would be an interesting. And it's like them in the house, then you wouldn't have to worry about the weird outside not having any more like influence. It's like more intimate when they're trapped in there.
Right.
That's the prequel, all right.
And I was waiting, and I kept waiting for I really kept waiting for the bit of like the neighbor like looking through the window, being like, oh, that rowdy house again, and like when it starts walking away to be like, just the bit where the neighbor's like, oh, the house is walking, Harold, whatever. Like,
I know.
I kept waiting for like, that's the thing. I know it's like for like what we had, it's pretty good. But I'm just kind of like, there was like small world building that could have really made this stand out more to me. And
I agree with everything you say. I think I like it. I like that it's scrappy, and it is a little nostalgic for me. So I admit that I'm a little biased towards it.
I know. I'm like 35 watching it for the first time, with this like critical eye where I'm like, but as watching it, just like, the kids were squealing and they were laughing. They liked parts of it, and they were scared when like it would growl and like its tongue come out. And I was like, that's fun. Like that's like I have no qualms with that. But it's just as a movie it stands, I'm kind of like, it's just lacking.
What do you think the best scare is? Because like my kids got because it was like intense action horror, like when the house would like full on become a monster at the end. Like my kids were a little freaked out too.
The skeleton kind of freaked me out. Like I could see like kids getting freaked out. When they like find it's cased in a tomb, and then
I like that it's like because then that makes it feel like actual stakes, right? But then it kind of undoes it, so I kind of get it. But like, the scare, it's like such an easy scare, but it always gets me where I'm like, oh, that's good. Is when he star 69's the house when he starts 69's the number and it's just ringing across the street.
It's ringing across
classic,
the street. That was great.
But it's so cool. Like
it's so good. Yeah.
And
it's
never
that was done well.
Nevercracker dying on top of him.
Yes. No,
it's hilarious and terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Like when it once he was like screaming and then he started having the heart attack, I was like, oh, okay, cool. They're doing.
Do you want to be a dead person? Like.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's the thing is like the stakes weren't high enough. Like. And I was a little confused with the grass physics, but whatever. It's like
that's what got used, the grass physics.
Well, like because it's like it can suck a dog, it can suck a wheel, it can suck a bottle, but it's not gonna suck a kid. Like give me a freaking break,
it sucked a
dude.
kid. You suck a
suck a mailman.
Yeah, I'll suck a mailman, bud.
I know. Well, it did. I guess it sucked the girl at the end, or inside the home. We'd had a mechanism to suck the girl. So
You got all the like one shot, because that's what I was hoping too. That I really like that shot that like cuts into the ground. I don't know if you remember. I'll probably use it for the thumbnail. But all the pipes, and I was like,
that's like my favorite cinematic like shot of it.
I'll probably use that for the YouTube thumbnail. But it's like, it's like having that like sprawl. Like I wish it's like the house was growing on the inside or something. You know, it's like growing down. Like
right. If
if it's
like,
alive,
the fact that it could. And if it like manipulates the trees and then the trees become real, like like its spirit is like strong enough to like kind of own that plot of land, and it'd be like, I don't know, you know, it does fine. I just and I have to gripe too. Star 69 wasn't around in the it came out like Star 69 was introduced in '89, dude.
Oh yeah, this is definitely earlier.
Started, dude. Don't get me started.
This is definitely like early
because when he was like, I started 69 did, and I was like, Star 69 wasn't around in this time.
It's ambiguous. It's like it follows, man. Like
it does. No, it really was though, because like clearly like the cars and the parents, like and their look is very 50s. Like it's one of those like of course, you know. No. I don't know what true year it is. I don't think anyone says it. But there's like arcade machine. I like that. You know?
Right. You know, he's got Chowder's got Pong at home. It shows. You know, and it's like he's got an Atari or whatever. But so tell me, Mr. fucking Money Minute guy, now's the time.
Yes.
It's a little early, but I need to know because I keep talking like, this movie's scrappy and I like it because it's like this young buns.
No.
It probably cost a lot, right?
It cost a lot. It was $75 million to produce.
Ooh.
Which
that's way more than I thought, though.
No, that's way more than I thought. Okay, so okay. I was expecting 50 because I was like, oh yeah, this is usually for some goddamn reason animations cost more, probably just because like there's more manpower, and this costs more because there's probably like a lot of money laundering going on because it's like a movie that they started new technology, you know, and a company was like, try our new technology, do this, and like So anyways,
nowadays it's like I could do mocap in my living room and it won't cost that much, but back in 2005, when they were making
your
this,
Pixel 6 has your Pixel 6 has mocap on
exactly.
it now,
back then it's like, you know, it was expensive and time consuming, but
right. Yeah, and a lot of manpower.
75 million.
75 million's bonkers though, dude. But it is like it shows because like even today making a 3D movie, like they make it 3 times essentially. They literally draw it completely finished, then they make it 2D essentially completely finished, and then they make it 3D. Like they make like 3 movies basically.
I would have guessed like 20 million. I would have guessed 20 or 30 tops.
No, 50 would be my like, well, okay, yeah, I can see
50,
that.
I'd be like,
75?
50, I'm like, that's steep, but sure.
Yeah, exactly. 50 was my ceiling, and so I was 75.
Did it make its money back?
It made 141 million worldwide.
Oh, okay.
which is bonkers to me because I don't remember this movie being popular. Like
I don't at all. Like even when it came out,
it's more like a classic essentially. I don't know. Like
kind of, because it's like, you know, again, I have an affinity for it, but it's like even I remember I saw it 5-star in Magna, and like not hardly anyone was there. There's like one or two other families, and then it's like you know we watched it. We got it on DVD like a couple years later, and like, you know, we watched it then and we had a good time with it. Like it was good to watch with like, I enjoyed it as a teenager, and it was something I could watch with my like younger siblings, right?
Right. No, and I love that. There is not enough decent PG
horror. It was that and
Scooby
Doo, Zombie Island were like the 2 that I had on repeat, but I had that one on VHS, baby.
Well, yeah, and that's truly I mean, that's I guess actually
that was on the pull too, but I also just watched that, and so like
right.
I would have been happy with any of those. I think they're all great movies. Like, I do think most attempts at because there's like way more PG horror I didn't get into, like more live action. I went more like an animated route, but it's like there are a lot of good ones, and I feel like there hasn't been that many good ones in a while though. Like I feel like the last good ones were like a decade ago, like, or even like 15 years ago, like Coraline and things like that. It's like,
oh sure, yeah.
I'm like trying to think on it because it's like everything since then has been like crazy big CG house with the clock in its walls, Goosebumps, you know, things like that.
Right, and because it's like we are straying further into God's IP light, like that. And, like it's so sad how like it really like I was thinking about that today. Like movies they just don't. I mean, this is a $75 million budget, but like they just don't do. Freaking, they don't give someone $10 million now to make like
Need to.
their project. Like,
That's again
such a bummer.
That's it's weird that like I feel because that $75 million budget you just told me hurt me because like I was feeling similar about this that I felt about Hush last week. Go listen to that episode where I was like, you know what, this movie's got its problems, man, but it's punching above its weight. Hush was $1 million,
No.
and
Yeah.
and this movie was $75 million, which is not correct. So I definitely feel like
dude,
it had to
swear
be
to God,
like
like-
20 million cocaine budget or something because like there's
really
no way.
though, 'cause,
There's
like
no way.
Fantastic Coraline was I think 20 million. Like if
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
I
like,
think it was even less. It's like
Leica now is
Well,
like 75 to 100 now. Like they're all like 100 now, but it's like this ain't no Leica movie. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
like it,
No,
but
God, dude.
there's no Leica.
Yeah. No, yeah.
God, when are we gonna
Coraline,
see?
Coraline's really dope.
Yeah, Paranormans is probably the other last big horror one because it's like even just like a good horror movie that's like for kids that takes itself seriously enough. I feel like they're all like they're like it's kind of spooky but also fart joke. You know, and I'm like,
Right.
I'm like,
God, dude, the clocks on its walls is rough. Don't make me watch
Go-
that ever again.
yeah. No,
And-
I'm
and
going to
Goosebumps was-
make you watch it.
Yeah,
I'm going to
Goosebumps
force
was-
you.
If it wins the poll somehow again,
I know.
we forget. We have like brain fog or something. But
Yeah. So, tell us, your listeners. I want to know what other horror movies, like children's horror movies, like there needs to be more intro because, like, what was? I mean, we're gonna get off brand of Monster House, but I think that's okay.
it's fine. I've said my piece.
Yeah. What what were some of your introductions to horror like as a kid that weren't being because we both obviously got shoved in to the deep end as young kids.
100%. I mean, if
we
if
watched
haven't
shit
said it
we
before,
should not have seen. As
yeah,
young
I remember
children.
I went to a midnight showing of Exorcist at 8 years old. So
Yeah.
that's my first strong imprint of horror, and it turned me into a junkie. So there you
Yeah.
go. I don't know, that's,
Right.
Yeah, start 'em young.
Yeah.
But
mine was
what,
7.
Yeah, what is like? Yeah, hell yeah. See, and seven's dope. Seven's like a.
It's not
on
like
its
as
on its
strict of a
other-
horror, but it is pretty horrific.
But right, yeah.
Uh,
I don't know what I don't know
But-
what my like, but I'm trying to think like where my first like Exorcist was the one that like was like, oh my god, this is horror, but like I wasn't watching like other adjacent films to Exorcist as a child. It was just one of those things where my uncle took me and my parents were pissed.
Yeah.
And so like, but I can't think of like where like what I really consumed.
Yeah.
A lot of like Goosebumps was kind of fun.
yeah,
That
obviously,
was-
Goosebumps.
That was you
See,
know.
like we need like a more modern Goosebumps, dude, for like this like
Yeah.
younger generation. But it would just be TikTok videos or some
It's
shit.
all,
but-
I was just about to say it's all the TikTok. Actually, I have found some really funny, like not funny, but like they've made like some really creepy TikToks, and I'm like,
That's cool.
I've loved them. They've been kind of like your creepy pastas, but then made into TikToks.
That's kinda
So,
fun,
like,
though. I dig
Yeah,
that.
they're creepy.
They're
fun. I like
one
that
of
idea.
one of my earliest introductions. So it's like when I was like 5, 6. I got babysat by my aunt and uncle occasionally, and they not Mormon, but they would let me watch. Like I liked horror movies because Goosebumps, and they'd let me watch like some of their horror movies, and it was all like mostly like 50s horror movies, like
hell yeah.
like The Blob and like Them, or They, with the ants, and but the big one was Poltergeist, right? Which is obviously not 50s, it's 80s, but
Yeah.
like
Right,
that
right,
movie is just a straightforward horror movie that takes itself very seriously, is still pretty scary by today's standards, and is PG. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this
mean,
was before the
in that-
PG-13 rating. It definitely would have got a PG-13 rating had that really
oh,
been
yeah.
around at the time.
Of course.
Because it's pretty graphic here and there. But, like, I feel like you would never see that now. You would never see, like, a modern Poltergeist, like, something that, like, is trying to be a legit horror movie, but also enough that kids can see. It's like, there's a
Yeah,
very
that isn't-
huge
that isn't
divide.
That isn't like a. Because I'm thinking like Ghostbusters kind of tries to toe that line.
Yeah, but that's still
know,
like
but
it's
that's
like,
such
ooh,
an-
it's a ghost, and then it's like it farted or whatever, like it's always
Right.
got to do.
Yeah.
It's always got to do some
Yeah.
stupid wacky thing like it's always like
But the original Ghostbusters like is scary. Like they have
it's got its moments.
horrific scenes.
I mean,
essentially.
Dan
but-
Aykroyd gets sucked off
but-
by a ghost. It's terrifying.
I know. I mean, that's yeah. Yeah.
Ghostbusters is fucking overrated. I'm saying it here.
I agree. Don't
No,
worry.
it's
I'm
okay.
not.
It's fine. It's a good movie. But
course, yeah.
But no, I agree. It's got like all the actual like demon possession stuff near the end, and all the like the actual some of the ghosts that aren't like Slimer. Whoa, like
Right.
because that's
No, of course. Yeah, and the Ghostbusters is like I would call that it's a safe kids horror. Like or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like
But-
kids could watch. I think there's like
I think
things that would
that's
go over their heads, but
yeah. I think that's why I like Monster House too, where it's just like even though there's like goofy, wacky stuff, and it's definitely a comedy and it's a kids movie, like the monster in the movie is taken seriously. Like it is a monster. It is scary. It's never like the monster house is never goofy necessarily.
true. Yeah, no, I mean there are stakes. There's true threats. Like the authorities get eaten and people they've witnessed a lot of like destruction happen, to the house. So
Well,
like, they like approach it with caution.
This
but-
is the part of the episode where we talk about we're like, it'd be cooler if they did the R-rated cut. And they just
I
fucking
know, I
killed the cops, dude. Kill cops.
Well, of course. No, but I mean, no. Do you know how sick it would be if like it like threw up blood? Like,
Yeah,
but
the
if it-
house,
but
the
if it
house
truly
full of
was-
blood, dude.
Well, no, and I'm really frustrated because they could have taken it one step further with like the husband protecting his wife, and his wife is the house, but like it'd be cooler if she possessed the house with vengeance and it made more practical sense. Like he like either did like a seance or he like she was like as I'm dying, she's like, I curse this house.
They
I curse
gotta
this land, or
bring it back
something.
to classic Indian burial ground.
I mean, honestly, kind of right. Like, I mean, Portrait. That's kind of what I was hoping. That is like her spirit would be like in the earth still. Like, even if even the house moved and she died, she still would be there, and he could have comfort. I guess knowing she's
what
there.
was
but like
the
moving
other-
on. I don't know. I mean, I guess not really.
It's
like-
weird. I was thinking
I
about
don't
while
want this whole
watching
movie to
it
change, but-
how many movies we watched that. So this is the third movie this month, and we're only on day 8 of the Monster House is day 8. So we watched 8 movies up to Monster House, and 3 of them have been about like the houses being more than they seemed, and like being like
Yeah.
like because it's like I did notice like a lot of parallels. I was watching Bones. And it's like it had all the like the
Oh,
house
that's
was
true.
ingrained with like
Bones was sick. See, Bones was sick because it's like his like skull was there, or his like body was there, and he possessed. He got to like control the house in different ways. Like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like where
it wasn't
she,
like the
is
full
the
sense
house.
of the house. And then,
Yeah, right.
But then the beyond, right, where it's like the doorway to hell in the house,
Yeah,
but it
it's
is
one
like
of the 7
making
gates or whatever,
like
but-
it is like reaching out,
Yeah.
So it's interesting that
That's
it's
kind
like
of a fun. That's a fun, interpretation, and like, they're not even. They're like those are 3 drastically different films. Not even
Very
these,
different,
These 3
yeah.
films are so different, but yeah.
well, that like again, like that's
theme.
what makes this movie cool. Is it's like it's the actual house itself, because it's like I like a good haunted house movie, and I've read some stories and stuff where it's like it's not the things in the house, it is the house itself.
Oh, and that's
type
like
of
that's like
vibes,
the
but-
best VHS. The like last one, right?
Oh,
or second
yeah.
to last one,
Yeah.
where the house like comes to life
so
as like
cool.
the ghosts and
Yeah,
shit. That's so cool.
That one is cool.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
what was that, like Halloween '98 or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's enough.
That's not.
I think
we
we're
have a
good.
Reddit. I mean,
I bet we do. Let me.
I'm sure we do, and I'm sure it's from our good pal. I noticed that if Travis listens to this, what's up, Travis? I'm pretty sure he's following along.
At least a
on
couple.
Letterboxd.
Yeah, I've definitely
Right?
seen
And-
some of. Yeah, shout out Travis if you're listening.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen. Yeah, because some of his things on
He's-
Letterboxd, so that's good.
You come to Letterboxd and you can follow along.
I know if you do watch one, Travis, I'll come and read your Letterboxd comments if I catch it and on here instead.
Oh yeah, I know, dude. Yeah.
So Clones of People 2 says first watch. I tried to watch it with my kids, 8 and 5, and although they seemed to like it, it was too much and they ducked out after 30 minutes. I feel this film has more scares than the usual kids horror and lacks a safety net and silliness that kids horrors often have.
Oh, that's a good wording. Yeah, it's a good
Safety net.
That's kind of what we've been like talking about.
Yeah.
It is nice that it doesn't like try to get goofy. I do like that groundedness.
Yeah, like the characters are goofy, but like the content isn't, and yet
Yeah.
the stakes don't feel that high. But I think that has to do with like the limited scope, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes on to say, I thought the story was fresh for the most part, and the reintroduction of the old guy for the final act was clever. I was starting to feel like the film was running its course around then. The art design was a bit hit and miss for me. The setting looked great. I love the house, but the character design was not for me. There's an uncanny valley in CGI design in the early 2000s, and whether deliberate or not, I just don't like it. I know it's subjective, though. Overall, it's a good addition to kids' horror. It's a fun movie, and it's certainly going on the watch list to watch with the kids in a year or two. 7 out of 10. Thank you. Yeah.
Nice.
See, I agree with all that. And it's like, I can 100% see the reasons why not liking it. Like, I like that kind of stuff. The uncanny valley kind of vibe to this, but
I know. Yeah, it's weird. Like the characters feel hollow, and I don't.
like you
don't
can
even
kick them
know,
and
like,
they just like float into the sky.
they would they would like, or just like they would crush in. Like there's no, like I don't, and it's weird. I like.
It's like
Clearly-
under the skin when it's like just sucks at the like,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
what
dude,
this
that's
is
so
like.
cool. God, that movie's so good. Show your kids that. Closer people too.
He watched that though, didn't he? Because we did that last year. Anyway, I think so.
Probably right. I would imagine.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, cool. Go listen to that episode.
Oh, dude.
Anyway, so yeah, that's Monster House. Take it or leave it. It's good stuff or okay stuff. But I do think it is interesting. Had this been made for a $20 million budget and then made that amount of money, like if this would have became like popular, like more popular, like what it would have looked like what would a Monster House 2 look like? You know what I mean? Like I think it'd be interesting because it's like obviously Pixar dominated and continued to dominate for some time,
Right. And I want to like, what did they come out with after this? Like
Sony's
You know?
next animation,
yeah.
or like
I
the
can't
studio.
even-
I don't know.
Or did they even? Are they even still around? I feel like they probably got bought.
I don't know. But yeah,
Well, I think if you liked this, go see The Wild Robot.
I want to go see it. I do.
No, but yeah.
Go watch more of the horror movies. Go check out the list. We got some more good ones coming up, and then I'll put another vote this weekend. I don't know what category I'm gonna do. I might do the newer ones, maybe, or maybe. I'll
Oh
wait.
yeah. I don't know though. We're watching I think we're watching 2 new ones the next week.
We're
right?
watching.
Like,
I
season-
put a new one. I put a new one every Saturday.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's kind of how I broke it up this year because it's like we did Salem's Lot last week, which is brand new.
Yeah.
And then this Saturday is I saw the TV Glow. Then next Saturday is Terrifier. And then the last Saturday is Maxine. So
Dude, I'm very excited. Oh yes, we got a great list this year.
there's
man.
some good ones.
Really-
I'm really looking forward to. I just hope
I'm hella.
I know.
I'm trying to bank them, but it's so hard to get
I
them in
know.
now. But
It's like
God,
11
it's
p.m.
good.
when we're almost 11 p.m. here where we're recording, and I'm
I
like,
know.
I want to go watch. I gotta go watch Planet Terror, man.
I know, really though. Yeah, I'm like, I literally have been watching 30 minutes at night, and then the next hour and a half, or
Well,
whatever the next day. Ugh,
My wife
we're getting
only
it.
wants to watch movies that she's seen, so she wants to watch Planet Terror, and I'm like, I ain't got time for you. Like, if you
know,
want,
really
if you
though,
want-
this is kind of that.
I
that's
gotta.
that crucial-
I am gonna have to
crucial
watch it in
period.
chunks, but
Yeah.
so we'll see. Maybe I'll pack in Planet Terror and Relic tomorrow. So anyway, go watch those movies. Check it out. Stay tuned next week. We don't know what we're watching yet, so that's exciting. We'll see what it's gonna be this weekend. So go vote on the movie this weekend, so we can see what we're watching on Tuesday this next week. So.
Again, if you want to support us, go to Patreon. That's always the best. We're probably going to do the bonus episode on Patreon this year, maybe.
Yeah, we may
or
just because
we'll see,
it's
yeah.
coming out. It'll probably come out a little
Yeah.
later. We might do it on the Patreon first and then do it later for everyone else
Sure,
or something
sure,
like
sure.
that. We haven't really
Big
had the.
exclusive access.
If you could
I
see
know.
us, we're falling apart. We're just I don't know. So
Yeah,
we haven't
it's
quite
been a
figured it out
stressful month,
yet.
but-
Exactly, but we're rolling with the punches, and we appreciate you rolling with us. Fine listener. So
Go watch the horror.
so
It's
long.
tricky.
Yep, go get deep in the horror. Even if you're not watching these horror movies, be watching horror movies. And then,
Yeah, I mean, 'tis the season.
Yeah. All right. Bye now.
Bye.